All right, so there's a few different things that you can do to help yourself and your clients master their mind and emotions. One of those things is looking at their beliefs. Watching their language patterns, noticing how they talk about things, how they talk about themselves, how they talk about their situations, how they talk about what they want. We want to look for and help upgrade their language patterns and beliefs to help support them achieving what they want. I'm getting in the best shape of my life. I had stress about that. I felt like, getting in the best shape of my life, I got to sacrifice. I don't know if it's worth what it would take. I was in the why. I was in the how. I was in the how of it. I got stuck in the how. And then at Limitless, we talked about that. I caught myself, and Limitless is my $250,000 mastermind. We just did the first one in Sedona, and it was amazing for me, and the feedback was off the hook, off the charts, and I get just as much out of teaching as you maybe do from learning. I get just as much out of coaching as the clients maybe do from being coached. Like, I'm learning, I'm discovering, I'm growing in all the work that I'm doing. So looking for, where are the limiting beliefs? What are the things that people are saying? Being in the best shape of my life is hard. We were actually in Biggs, and I was talking about how relationships are hard. And I kept saying it, and Nurjahan was like, you keep saying relationships are hard, you're going to make it hard. And I'm like, you're right. It's true. Relationships are fun. Relationships are rich. Relationships are a delight. So much better. Is it true that relationships can be hard? Sure. But that's not the same thing as saying relationships are hard. And one of my friends, actually, when I was having some stuff going on with my wife, he texted me, he's like, oh man, sorry to hear about that. And he was like, relationships are hard. And I was like, oh yeah. And I adopted his language pattern, and I started saying that. I repeated it. And at the time, it was also very true for me, because my relationship was hard. And Nurjahan's like, no, relationships are easy. My relationship's so easy. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. And I'm like, I remember when my relationship was really easy too. And I'm like, relationships are easy until they're not. But I don't know that I need my relationships to be easy anymore. I'm letting go of the need for ease. That was a big driver in my life for the last 45 years. And now, ease isn't one of my primary motivators. Yeah. Now, I am a fan of going for ease, and I recommend you do it, but not to the detriment. At some point, it's too much, right? My wife went out of town just a couple weeks ago, and I was solo parenting our 3 kids for a little over a week, and I hadn't done that. Not all 3 of them, not for that long. And it was hard. And I loved it. And I can't wait to do it again. Not that I love my wife. I love spending time with my wife. I hate being away from my wife. I never want her to leave. Which is one of the problems we have in our relationship. One of my love languages is quality time. Her top 2 are words of affirmation and acts of service. And I'm all about ease. Yeah, when she used to work, I'd buy her flowers and have them sent to her at work. And she would love it because she would get the flowers and everybody would be jealous, and that whole experience. Then she stopped working from home, and then I'm like, I can't send the flowers. I would still come home with flowers. Sometimes I'd come home with flowers for her and my daughters. And then I didn't know this, but bringing them for my daughters too made her not feel special anymore, which is totally okay. I don't want to judge her for that, but I thought she's going to love me more. I'm bringing home flowers for her and for all the other girls. we're saying that out loud. It's just like, wow, that's dumb. But they're my daughters, It's like, So I'm quality time, and I just want to spend time with her. Let's spend time together. And she's like, well, if we're spending time together, let's talk. And I'm like, I talk for a living. I'm coaching people. I'm teaching. I'm like, can't we just be together? Let's watch a movie. Love. Relationships, I don't need easy anymore. I spent this week a little over a week with my daughters, getting them to school, and I was hoping when my wife left that we would get the whole house in order, and I'd be starting from zero, and then I could just maintain keeping the house clean and dishes washed and feeding the kids and cooking, and I don't cook either. That's another thing. I so optimized my life for ease all the last 45 years. Don't cook, don't clean, and then here I am, no help. 3 kids. And on top of it, our 3 daughters all they all sleep in the same room. We have a 5-bedroom house, but they like to sleep in the same room, so we have bunk beds and stuff, and then they all share the same closet. And their closet is a disaster. We even had personal organizers come in and organize our house and their closet, and then I go in there, and the floor has tons of clothes. Like, all the clean clothes didn't get put away, and then as they were wearing dirty clothes, they went in the floor. So now there's dirty clothes, there's clean clothes all over the floor. There's clothes still in the dryer that need to get put away on top of it. I was like, oh my God, this is a disaster. I'm like, we're solving this. And we worked together. We played the laundry game. I started getting this parenting thing dialed in. Like, I know how to motivate these kids, I'm like, and I moved Zoe's clothes out of the closet into another closet in one of the other bedrooms, so that, like, because she's the middle child, and I was like, I don't know whose clothes is whose, and I don't even know if they know whose clothes are whose, because, it's like, and I just figured if I get Zoe out, right, I'm optimizing the environment. If I get Zoe out of there, she's the middle one, so, like, it'll be very obvious if it's Nala's clothes, she's the oldest one, or Lily's clothes, she's the youngest. So I'm like, let's get her and her clothes out of there. And then I put Nala in charge of making sure that the floor never had any laundry on it. And I said, every day I'm just going to come by randomly, and if I see the floor has no clothes on it, I'm going to flip a coin. And you get to pick heads or tails. And if you pick right, you'll get $1. So unfortunately now I'm out of town, so I don't know what's happening to keep reinforcing it. I didn't do that same game with Zoe because Zoe is going to naturally keep her closet clean because she just is oriented that way. Anyway, so it was not easy. Breakfast. I had to figure out getting them food for breakfast. Dinner. Tennis lessons and taking them driving, all this stuff, right? It was awesome, even though it wasn't easy. So I'm not optimizing my life for ease anymore. I think it's a good thing to do, but I've got, like, that's a superpower that I'm like, I've been like, ease, bam. My whole life is ease. So I'm up for more challenge. I'm up for more bonding, love, connecting challenges, or whatever it may be. So relationships are fun. Relationships are worth it. Relationships are rich. Relationships are beautiful. Relationships are all these things. And sometimes can be hard, but I don't want to say is. I want to say relationships can be challenging. I don't want to say relationships are challenging. Just that one simple tweak. Do you guys see the difference there between relationships can be hard and relationships are hard? Do you guys see the difference? Can you feel the difference? So we want to watch for those beliefs, limiting beliefs. First of all, here's a secret. If you've ever learned anything about limiting beliefs before, who here has heard about limiting beliefs before? Who here has never heard of that phrase, limiting beliefs? Anybody? It's okay. Okay, few people. So limiting beliefs are anything that you believe that's holding you back. Like, oh, I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. I'm a loser. I'm dumb. I'm whatever. Anything that's negative, that's not empowering you. So there's limiting beliefs, aka disempowering beliefs, or empowering beliefs. Now, even empowering beliefs are limiting, though. Even the belief, I am smart, is limiting. How could the belief, I am smart, limit you? Oh, I don't need to learn anything. I'm smart. Oh, you know what? You also might be afraid to try something new because you don't want to fail and not look smart. So you might want to unconsciously want to keep that identity. In fact, that's true. When you acknowledge your kids or anyone and you say, oh my gosh, you're so smart, that makes them less likely to want to try something new. You want to acknowledge their effort. Oh my gosh, you worked so hard at that. Great work. Way to stick with it. That kind of stuff. Also, if you're having a discussion, whose idea is the best idea if you believe I'm smart? Maybe you're going to think your idea is the best idea, even if it isn't. Okay, but it's much better to think I'm smart than to think I'm dumb, right? I'm dumb, there's not much. There's some positive there, right? If you think you're dumb, then maybe you're willing to listen. You're willing to hear other people's ideas. I have a belief that I don't have a great memory. I have examples of lots of things I don't remember. And it also, the strength about that is I just surrender to most everybody else's memory about something. I just watched a documentary on Netflix it's called The Mind Explained. And one of the episodes was on memory, and it's like, we get 40% of everything we remember is wrong. And some people more than that. Yeah. We think we remember, we think we know. Witness testimony is the most relied upon testimony by juries. Juries will listen to what the witnesses say. I saw that person from across the street on that night, and they were wearing. It's the most relied upon testimony, most relied upon evidence, and it's the least reliable. We generally don't have the sharpest memories, but we think we remember it all. Okay. Beliefs. Different kinds of beliefs. You can believe things about a situation. You can believe things about yourself. Your identity beliefs are the most important and most powerful beliefs that you have. I am what? I am infinitely powerful, infinitely creative, infinitely resourceful. That's a very empowering belief, identity belief. I mean, look at the beliefs on these banners. Surrender is the ultimate life skill. We're swimming in oceans of abundance. I have all the time in the world. Thank God we're rich. You are rich. You might not think it. You might not believe it. You may not have the empowering belief, I am rich, but you are. And if you adopt it, you will create more riches in your life. Because the truth is you are rich. You may think, but I got all this debt, and I have a shitty car, and blah, 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 blah. That story, let go of that story, because you're alive. If you are alive, you are rich. You have every single day of your life. You've had enough water, food, and shelter to keep you alive every single day of your life. The reason I know that's true is because you're here and you're alive. Even if some days you didn't have food, even if some days you were homeless, you've had enough to keep you alive. Being alive equals being rich. That's my definition of being rich. I am alive, therefore I'm rich. Because life itself is the greatest riches in the world. And even be appreciative of a penny. I have 1 penny, I'm rich. So grateful for this penny. So grateful for all the oceans and avalanches of money tumbling into my life in ever-increasing amounts day after day. Success is inevitable. Who thinks like that? Success, geez, maybe one day if I'm lucky. No, look, you use the 5-step client breakthrough system on yourself, success is inevitable. You got to do the work, you got to actually do the stuff, and you need to master your own mind and mind and emotions. You can get help with that. I can help with that. Our coaches on my coach team can help with that. You guys can help each other with that. So beliefs about life, beliefs about situation. Life is amazing. Life is wonderful. Life is an adventure. What else? Life is beautiful. Life is fun. Life is miraculous. Life is abundant. Life is ever expanding. Life is a gift. Great. I am grateful. I am powerful. I am a leader. I am what? I am confident. I am bold. I am strong. I am limitless. I am wise. I am worthy. I'm ready. I'm successful. I'm sexy. Hell yeah. I'm hella sexy. Yeah, look at this butt. Woo! Had to turn it your way. Got to be careful where I point this thing, you know? You never know. Keep everybody at bay there. It's getting hot in here. I know. Don't make me take this off. I am what else? I am amazing. Good enough isn't good enough. I am amazing. I'm more than good enough. I'm a rock star. I am extraordinary. I am powerful. I'm capable. I'm unique. I'm handsome. I'm beautiful. Okay, great. So we have beliefs about certain situations. Relationships are fun. Business is fun. I think business is fun. Business is one of the most fun games you can play. It's also one of the most challenging games you can play. But look at things as a game. Relationship game. Dating game. Sex game. Best shape of your life game. Fitness game. Turn things into a game. Games are fun. We like games. You know, right? So beliefs about situations, beliefs about life is, those are global beliefs, and beliefs about ourselves, our identity, who and what we are. Those are the three kinds of beliefs, and you just start noticing when you're talking to people, especially clients, just start noticing their beliefs, their language patterns, and start noticing where they're being empowering or where they might be being disempowering. And you could say, you know, I heard you say that relationships are hard, and it is true that relationships can be hard. And I invite you to consider that sometimes relationships are fun. Is that true? Sometimes relationships are easy. Is that true? Sometimes relationships are an adventure. Right? Like, I invite you to consider, is that possible that, you know, have you ever experienced it these other ways? Ask, offer, suggest, but don't impose. When you impose, people resist. If somebody says relationships are hard and you're like, no, they're not, don't say that. Create this space, this subtle, flowing, accepting. Can you feel the energy in the room, the space that we've created together here? That's the kind of space you're creating for your clients. And you don't even need to understand it all intellectually. There's a part of us that understands things. There's a smarter part of us that if we let be in charge, gets this and acts and absorbs and does and masters and then executes beautifully. Let that part of your mind be in charge. You don't need to have it all figured out. There's a greater intelligence in all of us beyond what we intellectually think. Okay, so there's beliefs. And then there's fears and doubts and self-judgments. Let's talk about fears. Well, actually, let's talk about questions you can ask people. Is it true? This is a great question. Is it true? Is it really true? Can you really know for sure that's true? That's some of an influence from Byron Katie's The Work. Is that true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? that relationships are hard? Is there another way to look at this? Offering metaphors, people use metaphors, noticing if people have disempowering metaphors or if they have empowering metaphors. Oh, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That is a metaphor. Yeah. Oh, that's killing me. Is that a good metaphor? No. Is it? Wait. Do I need to call a doctor? Life, like she's killing you? My wife she's killing me. Are you in actual physical danger? Oh, no, I'm just okay. Do I need to call the doctor? No. Okay. Is she really killing you? Now, tell me what's happening. They tell you the situation, then you might just say, is she really killing you, or is she just inspiring you to grow? Is she killing you, or is she challenging you to step up and become a better man? And then you can also use stories to you can change the way people think by sharing a story. Right? Talking about how you're supposed to be terrible at something when you start out, right? Like talking about the ropes course, telling the story of how hard it was at the beginning and then how much easier it was at the end. And by the time we were doing the last part, most of us were blindfolded. Like that's a great story to help you go, oh, I'm going to get good at coaching. Even if maybe I think I'm good right now, but I can get even better. Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am, and that's okay. Because I can always get better. And I care, and I'm doing the best I can. You have to have room to grow. All right. Fear is one of the biggest things holding us back. Fears and doubts. Fears and doubts. Who here ever experiences fears or doubts? Anyone in here? Is there anyone in here who does not ever experience fears and doubts? Okay. Yeah, I do. I doubt myself. I have fears. I have insecurities. I'm a work in progress. I'm working on myself. I am addicted to healing myself and helping myself work through my stuff. I saw a cartoon the other day, and it showed a guy reading a self-help book that says, how to cure your addiction to reading self-help books. All right, fear. There's a really powerful technique there's two really incredible techniques for working through fears that I've developed, discovered, been gifted. One is called the peace process, and the other one is called the instant miracle technique. Now, the instant miracle technique is a subset of energy healing techniques. There are many energy healing techniques. There's Diksha, there's Reiki, there's ultra high frequency energy healing, and there's instant miracle, and maybe others as well. I use ultra high frequency energy healing and instant miracle technique. Those are the two I use the most. And then there's the peace process, which is, I guess, a somatic therapeutic technique. The great thing about the peace process is it's simple. I learned NLP and hypnotherapy, and you got all these big processes of doing all this stuff, and it's helpful. I got a lot of value out of learning how to do NLP, but I don't really use NLP much in terms of helping people resolve fears. I mostly use the peace process and instant miracle. I'm not going to go into explaining much about the instant miracle technique or even doing the instant miracle technique right now. If you're interested in learning more about it, I'll be doing some demonstrations of it at CoachCon, and I also have videos about it, and you can check it out at instantmiracleexperience.com. And I also have an event where I teach the instant miracle technique, and it's called Instant Miracle Mastery, and you can find out more about Instant Miracle Mastery at instantmiraclemastery.com. Instantmiraclemastery.com, and you get on the waiting list for the next time that we do it. And of course, at some point at CoachCon, I'll be talking about Instant Miracle Mastery. If people are interested in it, then I'll talk more about it. Right now, I just want to teach everyone a very it's the number one, simplest, and most deepest, most powerful, one of the best techniques I've ever developed from learning a couple of things from a couple different places, and I put it together in a very simple thing called the peace process. Who here has learned the peace process, or at least heard of it from, okay, great. Who has not? Most people, wow. Slight majority. Cool. This is going to be great. I'm just going to teach you how to do it. Well, should we teach people how to do it? Actually demo it. Just teach people how to do it. I'm just going to teach you how to do it, and then we'll take the recordings from tomorrow from CoachCon where I demo the peace process and instant miracle technique, and we'll bring that in for the Rapid Results Coaching Academy, and this way we'll be able to demonstrate it. Right now, I'm just going to teach you how to do it. You might want to take out your notes. There are a few steps to doing the peace process, and I'm going to recommend that your homework tonight is to try out doing the peace process on yourself, or buddy coach up with people and practice it. Here's how you do the peace process. Step 1, think of something that you'd like to achieve or something you need to do in order to achieve the thing that you want. And notice if you have some fear around it. Who here has a fear of public speaking? Who here has a fear of talking to somebody you would want to ask on a date? Who here has a fear of asking for the sale? Who here has a fear of talking about your fees and talking about money? Who here has a fear of charging a lot for your coaching? Okay, so any of those, you could pick any of those, or anything else that you've got a fear around. And when you think about that thing, notice what it feels like. And then notice where the feeling is in your body. So step 1 is think of the thing you're afraid of. So that's step 1. Step 2, locate the feeling in your body. Feelings are somewhere in our bodies. Usually it's somewhere along the chakra line, but often can be anywhere, can really be anywhere. It's frequently here, but not always. Who here, first, who has accomplished step number 1? You've thought of something that you have a fear about. Raise your hand if you've accomplished that. Okay. If you have not yet been able to even think of a fear that you'd like to let go of, raise your hand. So, you haven't found a fear yet? Okay. Fear of heights? No? Okay. Okay. You don't need to. I know you know how to do the peace process, so don't worry about it. Enjoy just being fear-free for the moment. Yeah. Okay. Step 2, you find where the feeling is in your body. Who here, when you think of the fear, you've been able to find where the feeling is in your body? Raise your hand if you accomplished step 2. Raise your hand if you are having trouble locating where the feeling is in your body. Okay. That's okay. That happens sometimes. Does that sound familiar? That's a callback to the beginning. That happens sometimes because it's true. It does happen sometimes. If we've been so accustomed to stuffing down our feelings, then sometimes it's hard to whoa, where are our feelings? I'm, habitually repressing our emotions. I'm not saying that's true and that's the reason. Maybe it's just so subtle that you can't notice it. You could try thinking of a different fear and see if you're able to find that in your body. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do some of this energetic healing stuff that just so that you can actually potentially be more likely to access your feelings. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do an instant miracle for everybody. It's this energy breath that I do. And it helps release negative energy patterns. It can install new energy patterns. It's helped people heal physical things. People who needed hearing aids don't need hearing aids anymore. There's people who needed glasses that don't need glasses anymore. People with fibromyalgia have no pain, fibromyalgia free. People with arthritis, gone. All kinds of things have been healed using Instant Miracle. So let's see what happens. You don't need to understand this part. I'm going to explain more about this tomorrow. Or I might not even. We'll see. You know, as long as I'm doing the Instant Miracle, I better hold off, actually. Because for some people, it might just instantly resolve your thing, too. So I want to hang on, because I want to just take you through the peace process. Let me take you through all the steps. If you don't find it in your body, just write down what the steps are. Step 1, what was step 1? Think of the fear. Think of something, a fear that you want to let go of. Think about that situation, actually. That might be a good distinction. Think about the situation that you would be in that would be fearful. So not just think about the concept of, oh, I have the fear of public speaking. Oh, but I'm not feeling any of it. Imagine yourself actually doing the public speaking. Imagine yourself actually asking for a raise, right? Maybe that's the fear. Imagine yourself, whatever the thing is that feels scary, imagine yourself doing it or being in that situation. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, what's step 2? Find where the feeling is in your body. Great. Once you find where the feeling is in your body, then you want to do the same thing that we taught you to do at the very beginning, which is create a safe space for that feeling. We want to make it okay for that feeling to be felt. So step 3 is we're not trying to make the feeling go away. We're not trying to analyze the feeling. We're not judging the feeling. We're not making it wrong to feel that way. Right? It's like, oh, I feel so weak. I feel like a loser. I don't want to feel like a weak loser. And then you judge the feeling. Like it's bad enough to feel bad. And then we add layers of shit on top of it. It's like, oh, I'm not doing the stuff I need to do. And I'm scared to go make those cold calls. And then I'm on top of that, I'm ashamed that I didn't go do the thing. I put another layer on top of it. And then I judge myself. And then I make up things like, I'll never be successful. This is we make a disaster casserole. It's a disaster. All right, so make all feelings okay. There's going to be part of you that wants to, that's like, okay, I'm willing to feel the feeling. There might be a part of you that's not willing to feel the feeling, that's resisting the feeling. Make everything okay. It's all the emotions are okay. We're not here to judge it. We're not trying to make it go away, because what we resist persists. So we just make it okay. We let the feeling be there. Without trying to change it, without trying to get rid of it, we just let it be. So step 3 is to create a safe space. Step 4, put your attention on the most intense part of the feeling. That's right. In creating a safe space, you can also say some of those things to yourself or to others. You're doing great. That's right. When I went through NLP and hypnotherapy training, we did a whole thing where all we were doing was saying that's right to people. Just that phrase in of itself has power. That's right. So while people are peace processing, while you're peace processing yourself, you could say to yourself, that's right, you've got this, you're doing great. It'd be self-talk, but if you're coaching someone else, you could say those same things to them. That's right. And especially when you notice either they take a deep breath or you see them relax a little bit more, that's right, you're doing great. So that's part of step 3, creating that safe space, creating that energetic container, maybe a better phrase for step 3, creating that energetic container of safety. And so then you're on step 3 is find the most intense part, right? Step 4 is find the most intense part, right? Step 4, find the most intense part, and just really tune into the physical sensations of that most intense part. And see if there's an eye of the hurricane, if there's some spot inside that most intense part where there's just some peace in there. There could be, there may or may not be, but just look for that as you focus on the most intense part. And then just stay with it. let the emotion be there until it goes away. Step 5 is let it run its course. Going back to that holding the energetic container, that's step 3, right? Safe space, energetic container. While you're in that place, be as unconditionally accepting of the feeling as you can be. And if you can, be even loving towards the feeling. Send it love. Stay out of the mind, stay in the body. Really feel that feeling. That's right. I've been doing some of these instant miracle healing breaths already. But even without them, the peace process works in and of itself. Who's noticed that the energy, the intensity of the thing that you're afraid of has decreased or completely gone? Nice. Stay with it. Peace is inevitable. The peace process will 100% get you to peace about anything. Any pain from the past, any frustration in the present, any fear of the future, whatever it is, you can get to peace about it. Right? Doesn't mean think of your kids being hurt in some way. I don't want that, right? But if you're actively, constantly worrying about something, right, there's something you can peace process about it. If I was constantly worrying, oh my God, where are my kids? What's happening? I can't you can let that go, right? If somebody was what if somebody took a needle and poked your daughter? Yeah, of course I'd be frustrated and angry and I want to kill them or something. Those are normal and natural feelings. But if you're constantly worrying about something, then there's something to heal there, right? Being afraid to come up on stage and speak about something, that's not normal. You can get to peace about that. And ultimately, the proof is in the pudding. You'll know that it's resolved, when you can think about it again and it no longer pushes any buttons for you, or when you actually go do it. So if you have a fear of public speaking, if you imagine public speaking and you feel like crap about it, and then you peace process it out, and then you imagine speaking, and now you don't feel worried about it, you feel excited, you feel looking forward to it, it feels joyful, it feels like it's fun, then the chances are 90-something% of the time you could get up on stage and feel great. And if you actually go to do it and you don't, well then maybe you have a little bit more to work on. And if you can, if I'm working with somebody up on stage and their fear is fear of public speaking, I'm going to work with them till they feel at peace about it, and then I'll test it. I'll be all right, teach us, speak, give us a talk, do a talk for us right now. And if that freaks them out, we work on it a little bit more. Then I'm all right, go ahead, give it a talk. And then we wait till they feel ready, and as soon as they start talking, I'm that's good enough. How did you feel? I don't need them to actually do a whole lot of talking, but what step are we on? So the next step is step 6. Step 6 is once it's run its course, and it will, and you never know how long it's going to take. It could take seconds, it could take minutes, it could take hours, it could take several sessions over the course of months. My fear of heights, I spent 9 months working on it diligently before I finally got over my fear of heights. And then I went and I tested it because I did the ropes course the first time and I was terrified. After I got over my fear of heights, I could do the ropes course, zero fear. I did the ropes course again yesterday, and I had a mild twinge towards the top of climbing up the ropes without any harness. To get up onto the ropes course, you're not harnessed in, and that was mildly freaky. And then the zip line, I felt a little bit right before going. But night and day compared to the first time I went. And I haven't been putting myself in that situation in a long time. But then I went to test it on skydiving. I went skydiving before, hated it. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it now and see if I feel any better. I might have felt a little better, but I still have fear of heights. I don't have fear of heights anymore. I have fear of jumping out of an airplane. And I know I don't have fear of heights because I just took, and my Limitless Mastermind, we took them all up on a hot air balloon ride. I had no problem. I could look over the edge, nothing. Every now and again, I would look over the edge and I would imagine jumping out, and I'd be like, whoa. But just being there, no. Or I'd imagine like, whoa, what if I climbed around the bottom of the basket? I'm like, why would I think that? Like, so, so I might have sliver of something still left to work with, but like my wife and I went on a hot air balloon ride 10 years ago or something for one of our anniversaries, and it like looking over the edge was freaky. This time it wasn't. We brought up oranges and bananas, and I asked the guy, I'm like, can I throw this over the edge? I'm like, yeah, it's not and it's not plastic. And so we threw it over, and it was like that. You just watching that banana like spin around, banana peel spin around, and just like how long you are able to see it, getting smaller and smaller, and just a sliver of light, and then all of a sudden it's falling relatively straight down, and then as it gets close to the ground, the wind catches it, and it starts shooting it over to the side and spinning it around and stuff. Super fun. Throwing orange peels down, it was like no problem. So I don't have a fear of heights. It's officially, I was like, nah, do I have a fear of heights? Because I still have some fears of skydiving. All right, let's see what else. So step 6 is, once it's run its course, to go back to step 1 and think about the situation that made you scared in the first place. Because, bless you, as you become less associated to the thing, as you're thinking about it less, the energy might go down a little bit anyway. So as you think about it again, you might notice there's still a little left. If so, just just keep going through it till you get to neutral, or even joy, or bliss about the situation. When you're in a fearful state, are you at your best? Are you at your most resourceful? Are you going to perform at your best? Not likely, right? So it's really good to get yourself out of fear. And if you get to step 7 and you check in and you're at peace, 90-something% of the time, if you can imagine it and feel terrified, and then you work through it and you imagine this, do the same imagining, and now you're at peace, 90-something% of the time, it's resolved, right? Actually going and testing it, getting up on stage, doing the thing, asking a girl out, whatever, asking for the money, talking about your fees, all that stuff, actually doing it and seeing that you're at peace, that's when you'll know for sure. Okay, the proof is always in the pudding. And if there is still some fear, it doesn't mean, oh, this didn't work. It just means it's not done. The work just isn't complete yet. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, when you're doing peace processing with your clients, how long does it take? You never know how long it's going to take to resolve. Remember how important presence is. That's what does the trick. You presence out the energy of the emotion. Your presence is like a flame for yourself when you're coaching yourself when you're doing the peace process for yourself. Your own presence is like the flame, and the fear, the doubt, the anguish, whatever it is that you got going on, the angst is like the oil in an oil candle, and your presence is like a flame. And the more you just stay present to the physical sensations, the most intense part, you follow it around wherever it can move sometimes. It might disappear there and pop up here. It could snake around. All kinds of things can happen. You just keep following the spot. It could show up in 2 spots. It could show up in 2 spots, and it like with energy shooting between them. Just keep focusing on the most intense part wherever it is. And this too shall pass, and you will get to peace. Your presence is like the flame in an oil candle, but we don't know how much oil is in there. And how intense the feeling is and how long it takes to resolve are completely unrelated. It could be really intense and go away in a matter of seconds. It could be mildly intense and take a long time. You just never know. But peace is inevitable. You will resolve this. I used to think that, my fear of heights, I just thought, maybe this one's just not resolvable, because it was taking so long. My fear of making offers from stage was one of those where I was like, I've worked through so many things so fast with Instant Miracle and Peace process. I don't know, why can't this one? But eventually, this too shall pass. Peace is inevitable. You can get to peace about anything. Yeah. Let's get the mics out for questions. I'm going to get back to that right now. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get the mics out. I'm going to share, and then I'll take some questions. So when you're working with clients on this, if they, the best way to introduce the inner work, the mastering your mind and emotions work, the best way to introduce it is when your client is stuck, and this is the reason why. They said they were going to do something, and they didn't do it. They said they were going to do it, and they didn't. It's not about holding people accountable, because that always it feels very oppressive to me. It's not about holding people. There's some truth, like checking in. Did you actually follow up? I don't look at it as holding people accountable. I look at it as keeping people on track. And I look at if they're not taking action, there's a reason why. Maybe they have some fear about it, right? And I would just say, when you think about taking this action, how does it feel? Does it feel good, or does it feel some angst about it? If they have some angst about it, say, I have a process that can help you resolve that angst. And once that angst is gone, how do you think you'd be more likely to take action? Oh my God, that would be amazing. That's why safety is so important, so people can show up and not take action week after week and still tell you the truth and still come to the calls, right? And then once you're taking them through the process, you just say, all right, think about going to that networking event. When you think about it, what do you feel? What does it feel like? Where do you feel that feeling in your body? Focus on the most intense part. Stay out of the mind, stay in the body. Don't try to judge it or analyze it. Don't try to make it go away. Just let that feeling be there. Send it love if you can. And then as they're being with it, you could just be like, that's right. That's right. Stay with it. Stay with it. If someone starts to cry, that's okay. That happens sometimes. And just really invite them to tune into the physical sensations, because when someone starts crying, it's usually because they're caught in a story about the emotion. So you want to get them out of the story and back into the body. Stay out of the mind, stay in the body. You're doing great. Crying is totally okay. That happens sometimes. It's part of the process. I want to invite you to just really tune into the physical sensations, really focus on the most intense part. Send it love. And that usually gets people out of the tears and back into the body and lets it resolve. And you stay with them for as long as you can. I like to, the first time I'm ever peace processing with someone, I want to, as much as possible, stay with them until it gets resolved, which means sometimes our session might go long, which means sometimes I might need to tell my next client I need to reschedule because I'm going extra for one of my clients that's in a tough spot right now. Most clients are pretty understanding about that and feel like, wow, if you're willing to do that for one of your other clients, you'd be willing to do that for me, and that's also reassuring for them. So the first time, and it's not always possible because you never know how long it's going to take, but 90% of things resolve in a matter of minutes. Very few take months of really intense work on stuff, right? And I would make sure that you get the hang of taking yourself through it. Usually when we're not in groups, we're in groups, so when we wrap up for today, you could practice this with each other if you'd like. What I usually recommend people do is try it with yourself and get to peace 3 times. And once you do that, once you take yourself through it 3 times, you have enough certainty that this is going to work that you could actually take your clients through it. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm working on it for myself, or I just heard about it and I've never tried it, and then you're working with a client and they're just like, 30 minutes later, they're like, oh God, it's more intense, or shit, you should have seen what happened at Biggs. It got really crazy. Sometimes, things happen, bodies start, we never know what's going to happen. It's all okay. It's all part of the process. It's all part of the healing. That's right. You're doing great. And eventually they'll get to peace. Okay, let's take questions. Mary.
So my question is, what if their fear, and I'll use you as an example because everybody heard you, but if your wife didn't come back to you, do you really want to be at peace with that?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, help me understand why,
because neediness repels.
Oh, yeah, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, so getting to peace doesn't mean you give up the desire to be back with your wife.
Right.
But if you make peace with the situation, you'll be in a much more resourceful place, right? If I felt angry that she kicked me out, if I was like ashamed, if I was, all that stuff, like those are not going to get me back to a great relationship. What's going to get me back to a relationship is getting to peace, owning my value, not being needy, giving her space that she needed at that moment. So, yeah, I don't think being freaked out about things is very helpful to people resolving any situation. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's give it up for Mary. That was a great question, though. Very great question. Thank you for asking that.
All right. What you said raised a different question than my question.
Yeah.
So can I ask you to clarify?
Sure.
You talked about, well, if I'm angry or resentful or whatever, is the peace process, is it just for fears?
No, you
Or
can
is
get
it
through any
everything?
angst about anything. Worries, fears, frustrations,
Anger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to check in on that. So my question is, how the peace process works if the fear isn't just some imaginary situation, but something that someone encounters every day. For example, there is an acquaintance that I know in my neighborhood who a good friend of hers and her husband have said, hey, if there's anything you can do to help her, please, she won't go to therapy, do anything you can to help her. Her situation is she has 2 kids with food allergies that other kids have, but her fear level is to the point where she won't expose them to anything. She lets them go to school because the teachers know the rules, but there's only one restaurant they ever go to eat at. She won't let them go to any classes at church. She won't let anybody besides her husband babysit them, and it's really controlling their life. So it's a fear, but it's also something she's in like 100% of the time.
Okay, so hang on. This is where I'm so glad that this is coming up. Who wants the change? Does she want the change? Or do her friends want to change her?
The change that she and I have discussed is how to develop a course.
When you say she and I, who? Who's she?
The mom who has the kids with the allergies.
The mom who has the fear about the
Yes.
kids.
The only solution she and I have discussed is creating a course so she didn't have to explain to everyone over and over again, that she could say, oh, if you're going to take care of my child, go watch this video, so then she would know that they know the rules.
Yeah.
But that's the only conversation I've had with her.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if she is paranoid or if she's being a great mom.
The friend and the husband are leaning toward, like, other people have these issues and they don't respond that way. So
Okay.
that's all.
I've also heard of like kids getting killed by careless caretakers, and maybe this is what she needs to do. I don't know. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. If she has a fear, and if she would like to resolve it, you can help her do that with the peace process.
Okay.
If she wants to work through it, she might think, I don't want to let go of that fear because if I do, my kids will die.
Right.
It's not true. Having the fear isn't going to make her more likely to keep her kids alive, actually. It might be more likely to manifest it, because we often will manifest what we most desire or what we most fear, or a watered-down version of the two. So if she lets go of the fear, her intuition can guide her. Like in a fearful state, how easy is it for intuition to come in? Not very easy. Even if it's coming in, how easy is it for us to hear it? Not very easy. Even if we hear it, how easy is it for us to act on it? Not very, right? So if she agrees, like, I would love to let go of the anxiety about this, and then help her with that. And then when she lets that go, she'll be in a place where she can make better decisions. And maybe there's a way to cure those allergies. Maybe Instant Miracle could help resolve those allergies. I've had a lot of people have a lot of success letting go of gluten intolerance, dairy intolerance, all kinds of issues. And it's possible, and maybe not. Like, just because, and I want to say this too, just because this mysterious, woo-woo, crazy, magical instant miracle technique has resolved all of these different things doesn't mean it will resolve everybody's allergies or everyone's hearing issues or everyone's, whatever. I don't know. and maybe it will. I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't, but who knows? That answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Because just because she's with her children all day, the actual fearful situation isn't something that's necessarily, or they're not actually in peril having been exposed to an allergen every minute of the day. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, great, thank you.
you're welcome. Let's give it up for Tammy. And Tammy, if she is open to it and does want to try it and you help her resolve it, please go inside the Coach Club Facebook group and tell us about it. Okay? Thanks, Tammy. Melanie.
Hey, I wanted to know if there was a significance to the intensity or the location of the intensity.
Is there a significance to where the emotion is?
Where you're feeling it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, you could, if it's in this chakra, maybe it's related to, different chakras mean different things. It doesn't matter. Analyzing it, it's irrelevant.
Okay.
That's one of the most beautiful things about this. When you're coaching someone, you don't even need to know what the thing is that they're working. You don't need to know where it came from. You don't need to go back into the childhood. You don't need, you just process it through, and this too shall pass.
Okay.
Peace is inevitable.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
it.
Let's give it up for Melanie. Paula.
So when you say it might take a while to work on, in your situation, the fear of heights, and it took 9 months that you were working on it.
Yes.
Is that you were able to, at the time, get to peace for a little while, and then that fear would return, and then you did the peace process again?
No,
Okay.
I didn't get to peace, and then it was like I'd think about it, and it's like, oh, and it's here, and then it's on a scale of 0 to 10, it's a 25, and then maybe it gets down to a 22, and then maybe it gets to an 8, and then it moves over here, and then it's down, then it goes back up to a 12, and then it goes over here, and then it's like, oh, and then, And the other thing is, I just kept putting myself in scary situations. I started doing indoor rock climbing. Because it's, I can imagine it, and then it's helpful, but throwing myself in it. And then I'd be climbing, and I'd be on the rock wall, and I'd get to a height level, which would be freaky, and I'd just be like, I would just pause right there, maybe even let go and just hang there, and instant miracle and peace process, and keep doing it and climb a little higher and do it over and over again. When I say 9 months, it was 9 months of doing rock climbing 2-3 times a week and working on it there. Sometimes in between too, but it's like I liked rock climbing even though it was scary, so I didn't mind putting that was just a great way of doing it. Same with selling and making offers from stage. I worked on it a ton when I wasn't on stage, but I worked on it the most during a live event. The live event would be coming, as I'm leading up to it, the anxiety would get bigger, right? Then I'd be leading the live event, then it would go to be break. I'm like, okay.
But during that break, you became peaceful, but then it would come back.
No.
Okay.
No. Peacier.
Okay, peacier.
Peace.
You became PC.
Somewhat peaceful.
Okay.
Somewhat peaceful. I got less anxious.
Okay.
Less angst. And then I just kept doing the live events and making offers and making a couple offers during the events and then getting more and more peaceful. And
Okay.
yeah.
I have a couple of clients that during the session will say that it's at a 0, and we stick with it until it gets to a 0, and then a few sessions later they come back.
Do you check back? Because again, you need to go. Step 7 is have them reimagine it and check. So you got to make sure because it can get to 0 in the moment. That's why you have to reimagine it. We call it poking the bear.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can have them imagine it in an even worse scenario, right? Sometimes people have fear of charging a lot of money. I'm like, all right, how much money scares you to charge? Oh, if I charge $10,000. We work on it, we get them to peace. I'm like, what if you were to charge 25? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's work through that,
Okay. So it's a different level.
It could be a different level to make it, to go even deeper with it, but
Okay.
let's take fear of public speaking. If you can get somebody to peace with public speaking, and then they can check it out and actually talk and not be afraid, it's resolved. It's not going to come back. Now, maybe if the size of the audience goes up, that could possibly push some. If you have some people in the audience that you look up to and you are worried about what they would think, that could push some buttons. But just regular public speaking, if they get it resolved, it's resolved.
Okay. Okay.
That's been my
And
experience.
have them go back and check on it after they say they're at 0 and,
Yeah, you got to just go back in that moment, in that session. Once they get to
Yes.
neutral, say, okay, think about it again.
yeah.
That's the critical thing, because just sitting there, you become a little, you haven't been, you start off thinking about the scary thing, and now you're focusing on the energy, and you're not thinking about the scary thing as much anymore. So you got to go back and check.
Okay.
And then recheck, and keep checking until you check, and then they feel good. And then say, okay, go speak this week, right? Or go raise your fees, or go, whatever the thing is, go climb the rock wall, whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
You're welcome. Let's give it up for Paula.
So off of Paula's question, are we, and then I have another one, but are we asking our client what they would rate it from a 0 to 10
You
scale?
could
Because you brought
totally
it-
ask that. Yeah, you could totally
Okay.
ask. On a scale of 0 to 10, how intense is it? You could. You don't have to. But you could, because then you can measure progress too. Instead of just, is it there? Is it gone? You know, it's, again, the light switch analogy. It's like, is it getting softer? Sometimes it'll get more intense. That doesn't mean it's not working too. Any change means it's on its way out. Sometimes it gets more intense before it gets less intense. That's okay too. Until finally, it's finally, the dimmer is all the way off. It's done. And the great thing is, once an issue is handled, it's handled. This is one of the most powerful and most permanent ways to resolve something. There's a great book by one of my most powerful mentors, David Hawkins. He's most well known for his book Power versus Force, which is a very hard to read book, but his magnum opus, in my opinion, is Letting Go, which is the easiest book to read, and he calls it the letting go process, and it's kind of like the peace process. It's just surrendering and accepting everything and allowing and accepting, and that's a lot of what the peace process is. It's just let yourself feel the stuff. All of our fears are fears of feelings. Everything we think we're afraid of, we're not afraid of the situation. We're afraid if that situation were to occur, it would make us feel this thing. All of our fears are fears of feelings. We can, once you know that you can feel anything, nothing can stand in your way. Nothing can stop you. And it takes courage to feel the feelings. It's scary. The scariest thing in the world is to feel feelings we don't like to feel. There's nothing more scary than that.
Thank you. And the next question is, so in somatic informed therapies, or if even like EMDR, you know, what is EMDR? Rapid eye. It's something rapid eye, something movement, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, there's when you close a session, you'll talk about this with the client beforehand. If you're going to close a session, there is a grounding phase or a safety phrase that you use to close the session, or you can do different sounds, or there are different techniques. My point is, if we have this client that has this feeling and it's not resolving and it's at 90 minutes, do you leave them with the feeling? How do you close it?
If this is the first time doing this with a client, I definitely do not want to leave them there. If we've done this several times, they got the hang of it, I know they can do it, then I will be like, you know what? Are you cool? Are you comfortable just keep working on this on your own? And if they say yes, great. And if not, then say, you know what? Maybe we could schedule another session this week instead of having to wait till next week, Or if it's like crazy intense between now and their next session, reach out to me and I'll do my best to, just be available to you as soon as I can. But the great thing is the worst thing that can happen is that people feel feelings. We're so worried about somehow hurting our client, what? We can't leave them. People aren't fragile. People are resilient. And guess what? They've been having this feeling their whole life. They've just been stuffing it down anyway. So it's like, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. You've created such rapport, such safety, such a beautiful space. Your clients are going to be okay. That said, if it's the first time we're doing it, if we're wrapping the session, I would still say, look, if this comes, if this is really intense and you really need to talk to me before next week, text me. I'll see what I can do, or maybe we could schedule a session in a couple of days or whatever. We can jump back on this thing. But people can do this on their own. I've been teaching this for years. I have videos on this. Like, just because you're the coach coaching them on it doesn't mean, like, all of a sudden, if something bad were to happen, it's your fault. Like, people can be responsible for themselves. People are responsible for themselves, whether they want to take responsibility or not. And so you can't get it wrong.
Okay.
You can't do this wrong. And a great way to get people back into a new energy space is to get them moving around, get them dancing, get them smiling, get them to move their body around a little bit, right? If you have a fear of public speaking and you're about to go on stage, if you have 20 minutes before you go on stage, do some peace processing. If you're going on stage in the next 30 seconds, jump up and down and change your physiology, change your physicality, right? Get yourself into a better state that way, and then, go for it. So you can do the same thing at the end of the session. All right, I want you to stand up. I want you to shake your body out. I want you to jump up and down. I want you to imagine you just won the lottery, whatever it is. And
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Okay?
thank you.
And definitely, once I've done it one time and they get the hang of it, then I know that I trust that they're going to be able to do it. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's give it up for Carrie. Okay, let's try to do these a little faster. Let's go straight to the question, and I'll do my best to answer quick. Go ahead.
Fibromyalgia is linked to trauma, and many times it's emotional trauma. So it's easy to identify the physical trauma more than the emotional trauma. So
Okay.
would the peace process help someone that really
I
don't
use
know?
the peace process for emotional things, and often it ends up curing physical issues. I worked with somebody on time scarcity up on stage a few years ago, and he was up on stage, and he was like, we're on the thing, and he's kind of stiff, and I didn't know he had back pain. He was like, and then eventually he mentioned the chairs, and I'm like, yeah, they're kind of uncomfortable. He's like, no, actually, this is feeling really comfortable. My back's feeling good. I normally have back pain and all this stuff as the emotional stuff. We get him to peace about his time scarcity, and then he gets up off the thing, and he's like, oh my God, my back hasn't felt this good in 15 years. I'm like, oh, I'm so sad you've had to suffer for these last 15 years. Look how fast we resolved it, and we think it's all physical, but a lot of times, maybe all the time, a lot of the time, maybe all the time, it's emotional stuff for sure. But I focus on the emotion. If somebody does have something physical, for that, I usually I'll do some instant miracle, maybe some muscle testing, maybe also some peace processing if something does come up emotionally for them while we're working on the physical thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's give it up for Maria. Okay, these are the last 3 questions. Carmel?
Yeah, Christian, can you say more in step 4 about finding the eye of the hurricane?
Yeah, just if the most intense part, you just keep looking for the most intense part. You keep dialing in, like if you could pinch zoom and then go to that most intense part and then pinch zoom that, and just really your attention to the most intense part of the most intense part of the most intense part until you may find that there's just peace in there.
Okay.
And you may not, and it's okay. But it's just something to kind of be going. It's a target to be it's something to look for. And sometimes as soon as you find that, then it can all dissipate. It's a little shortcut.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Grace.
Christian, my question may not be as simple. I'm going to try. When you're dealing with someone that has an ongoing complex situation that involves choices made by other people that you can't control, and that's pretty extreme, how do you help them cope? Example, my sister's been going through a horrible divorce from a horrible person. Her 2-year-old daughter, her daughter was 2 when she left. Unbeknownst to her, when they split, he started sexually abusing her, among other things. Didn't discover it until March.
Pause.
Yes.
Peace process. She can do that. It's not emotional, complex situations. Still, it's going to be an emotion felt somewhere in her body. She can find where is the feeling, and she can let it go.
On a continual basis, then.
It's not a continual basis. She's going to get to peace about it, and then she'll be at peace. It doesn't mean the situation doesn't. There could be other things, right? Maybe there's 10 things about this whole situation that are upsetting to her. We pick 1 out of the 10, and we get to peace about that. We get to peace about the fact that her daughter was molested.
Well, it still is.
We get to peace about the fact that her daughter is being molested.
Yes, that's what that deal is.
Yeah, we can get, you know what? You think that's impossible? It's possible. And life happens for us. We don't know what that daughter's soul contract is with her father, with her mother, what lesson she's going to learn, what strength she's going to get from it. Yeah, is it going to fuck her up? Definitely. It's impossible not to fuck up your kids no matter what. I'm not saying that makes that okay. Like, call the police, call Child Protective Services. Like, be logical about it, right? Protect your daughter. I'm not saying to not do those things.
Those things have been done.
And I'm not saying that they're not. But you got to get out of buying into her story. You got to get yourself to peace, Grace. Yeah. You're in the story about it. I'm not saying, look, bad things are going to happen to all of us. Bad things have happened to all of us. More bad things will happen to all of us. That's the truth about life. Right? I'm not saying that makes that okay. It's not okay. Right? It's not okay. But being as upset as you are about it isn't helping. You're not helping your friend. You get to peace, and then you'll be a great role model, and you can help her get to peace. And then you can tell us all about it in the Coach Club Facebook group. Okay? I know there's a part of you that doesn't believe it because it's like, yeah, but look at all this stuff. Look at these charts and graphs. Look at all this evidence that I have that I should be upset. I have justification. Yeah, you've got such good justification. You've got the best evidence. You've got such a good story. She's the victim. Who knows? She might even be lying about it. I'm not saying she is. But you're definitely buying her story. And just because you're in the story doesn't mean the story isn't true, but you are stuck in the story. You can't see it right now. You can't even totally hear what I'm sharing with you right now, and that's okay. Does everybody else hear what I'm saying? And I don't even know that everybody in here can hear what I'm saying because it's such a good story. It's such a good story. One of my great friends, one of my best friends, was molested when she was 8. And it has caused a lot of problems for her. And I didn't even know about this. We just worked on this a few weeks ago. She finally felt comfortable enough after being friends for over 15 years. And she told me about this. And she'd worked on it a bunch. And then we worked on it some more. Like there was a part of her that liked the attention from her stepdad. There was a part of her that was mad at her mom because she thought her mom knew, but her mom didn't know. And like there were so many layers to it, but every layer can be neutralized and you can get to peace. And you can realize the gifts in every situation. She found gifts in having had that experience. It helped make her more compassionate. It helped her make her more understanding of other people's situations. It made her into who she is today. It made her get into personal growth. What's the value of that? It made her more connected to Source. She sought God. Right? Like every experience is a gift. Even being molested is a gift. I'm not saying that means you should go do it. I'm not saying that justifies it. I'm not saying that is a good excuse to be an asshole to somebody. I'm just being myself, doing terrible things to people. That's not an excuse. I'm not in any way justifying it. I am then not in any way condoning it. Right? Do everything in your power to change the situation. But guess what? When you are in the story and in the emotions and got all that shit, you're just going to keep perpetuating that situation. When you neutralize it, you take back your power. Now, instead of being powerless about it, oh my God, I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, called and they still left him with him, and I still can't get. You're in a fucking victim loop story of hell. Not just you, but especially her. And the only way out is through. You take it one feeling at a time, one moment at a time, and you get to neutral and neutral and neutral and neutral, and you can get to peace. And when you get to peace, you'll be able to help her get to peace. But don't try to help her about this, because right now you're in the story just as much as she, maybe more. I don't know her. My intuitive sense is like, because of all the stuff she's had happen to her, she has her own stuff, and she's manifesting this situation for herself and for her daughter and for her husband, ex, whatever, boyfriend, whoever the guy is. Like, she is complicit in the manifesting of the scenario. We always are. I had a friend of me who had been sabotaging me and my business for years. And I kind of knew it. And it wasn't until it got so obvious and extreme that I was able to just be like, what the F are you doing? This is not acceptable, and I can't have a relationship with you anymore. But at the same time, I could feel like, ooh, like I kind of knew the whole time, and for some reason, I didn't want to know. And I didn't want to believe, and I wanted to believe the best in him. And ultimately, I needed his behavior to get so bad to finally make me so mad that I could actually make peace with anger, because I'd been suppressing anger. I needed him to make me so mad so that I could feel that anger and let it go. I didn't need to hurt him. I didn't need to get revenge. I didn't need to trash talk him. I just needed to get angry and let it go. And I was angry for like a good week and a half. Like, at the same time that happened, somebody on my team I found out had embezzled $55,000, over $55,000 from me. And I was way madder about this other thing. In fact, I felt sad for the person who did it more than I felt mad about it. And I had to feel through that shit too. And in the same week, I found out I was being sued. How do you like that for a week? All in 1 week. Thank God for peace process. That's all I have to say. Let's give it up for Grace.
Thank you.
I know. I can't wait. I hope you will give this a shot for yourself. And then let us know how it works. Tell us inside the Coach Club Facebook group. Lucinda.
Just a brief question.
Yeah.
Is this equally effective and equally safe whether the client is with you or you're maybe
Yeah.
having a session on
Over
the
the
phone?
phone is
or
fine. Yeah.
It's just
Just as
pretty
good.
much the same.
Yep, over the
Great.
phone, over Skype, doesn't matter.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Let's give it up for Lucinda. All right, I said Lucinda was going to be the last question, but I will take one last one.
I got to speak to
Bonus
this.
question.
I got to speak to this. It's not really a question, but I wondered whether or not this is going to come up at
Yeah.
this thing. It's the thing about, was it Grace that just shared?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a victim of a child abuse
Yes.
that happened when I was very, very young. I don't remember when.
Yep.
The only thing I remember about it is I had a lot of symptoms of it. Like I developed a stutter, I started wetting the bed,
Sure.
et cetera, all kinds of stuff that's pretty much bugged me my whole life.
Yeah.
Okay, and it wasn't until the last few months that I started realizing that was really where my block was, and I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I've been telling myself the narrative, my whole life. And my parents were extremely young when it happened, and they had no tools to deal with any of that kind of stuff or anything. So basically, it's just turned into a big cloud over my life.
Yeah.
And about a month ago today, I actually hired somebody that's working me through that stuff and helping me reframe everything about it and all this kind of stuff. But I'm a victim, and I don't need to be.
It's true.
And the whole thing is like, that happened to me. But what you're saying, what you said there about there being a golden lining,
Yes.
that is huge, because it's kind of become my life purpose now, and that's starting to evolve for me. And I'm starting to understand that I can actually help people.
You've got to find the
who are
gift.
been-
Yeah, of course
it's a
you
gift.
can find. Yeah.
It's a total gift.
So is there a question?
No, I just
Okay.
had to share that because
Yeah.
it's like it's exposed and it's here and it's
Yeah.
you addressed it and bang on, and I'm here. I'm a testament to exactly what you just said.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. We did a session with the bigs yesterday or 2 days ago with one of the bigs, and we did like, what's great about suffering? What's great about being bullied? I've been bullied many times in my life as a kid and even as an adult. What's great about being a bully? What's great about bullies? What's great about suffering? We're not going to take the time to answer that, but I'm going to leave that with you to like consider those things. Everything is good, even bad things. There's only good things because even bad things are good. It doesn't mean I want more bad things, but I'm not running from them. There is a gift in everything. And you've found the gifts, and hopefully you're no longer paying the price. Like, you can heal that and let it go if you haven't already. You can heal that and let it go. And keep the gifts. I was a surprise baby. I felt like I wasn't wanted my whole life. I felt like I was a mistake. I just let that one go at Limitless. And what's great about feeling not wanted? Well, I felt like an outsider my whole life. What's great about being an outsider? What's great about being an outsider is I think more independently. I don't feel like I have to fit into the group because I don't fit in. Like, I don't fit in anyway. Why try to fit in? I'm just going to think for myself, do my own thing. Which maybe made me, be willing to start my own business. Maybe I wouldn't have done that if I remember when I was like, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to quit my job and start my own business. Everybody kept saying, oh my God, what are you going to do about insurance? Oh my God, it's so scary. You're going to start your own business. They were all worried for me. I started getting scared, but I did it anyway. That if I had not been bullied as a kid, if I had not felt like an outsider, maybe I'm not here today. I wouldn't be the person I am today. Maybe I would have never gotten into personal growth at age 12. Right? How does that happen? The most popular kid in school who's really good at sports maybe doesn't need personal growth because things are good for him. The kid who's terrible at sports, doesn't fit in, that guy needs personal growth. Thank God. Everything is a gift. Life is a gift. Take a moment and look through your notes today. Look at what did you learn? What's opening up for you? What's a big breakthrough for you? What's going to make you a better coach? I hope you found that training valuable. Keep tuning in and watching all the rest of the videos so you can get certified at the very end.